I do not like Genesis 22. I do not think there is any way to defend Genesis 22. And he said to Abraham, go and take your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah, sacrifice him there on a burnt offering, and then they go through this whole thing. And then eventually they go to Beersheba after the Lord provides a ram and the Lord's angel, and then Milcah is awful mother born this year. And then there's a whole bunch of other kids for Nahor's sons. Who is Nahor? Oh, his brother. Yeah, Isaac's brother. Okay, so yeah, a burnt offering to God is a thing that we see throughout the Bible. We see burnt offerings, we see incense offerings, we see sin offerings, we see all these offerings. This is human sacrifice. There is no other way around it other than the fact that this is a human sacrifice. And now, earlier in the Bible, literally the previous chapter, we see God say it'll be your son Isaac who is going to be the one who will be your descendant. You know, your descendants will come from. So, blah, 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 blah. And then God says, kill him. And Abraham doesn't use any critical thinking skills and ask why. And I don't like that. I just don't like that he's just like, I'm going to obey God. And then he's kind of rewarded for it by being provided the ram to sacrifice to God, which, how is that a sacrifice? I've seen other stories where like a god will provide something and then you sacrifice the thing to the god, or when you don't, you end up with the Minotaur. That's a whole other story. We'll talk about that later when I go into the Greek myths and stuff. Now, I may be a Hellenic pagan, but I'm not a myth literalist. uh, but this is human. This is the literal human sacrifice. There is no defense of this chapter in the Bible. I understand that they may have, that some people, some scholars even, I think Dan McClellan said that this was all about trying to make sure that they didn't sacrifice to other gods and God disproving human sacrifice or saying he doesn't condone human sacrifice, but a plain, to me as a English scholar, a scholar of literature, that doesn't make sense because that seems more like just like trying to read things that aren't there. Whereas the first thing that I'm thinking when I read the text is, what is this? And it's a human sacrifice. And then God's like, oh, never mind. And it's like, listen to what God says, and then, he might change his mind. Obviously, we see God change his mind, but I don't think there's any way to defend this. All right, everybody, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and you can follow me on Patreon for $1 a month. And Mariners recap videos will be published 12 to 14 hours before they'll be published on YouTube on there. You'll also have some access to things that I write, as well as some blog posts. I might use it as a website, and you can book me on Cameo. You can follow me on Instagram, and well as Blue Sky at Sammy5436. Thank you for watching.